Krishna Vancha Kalpatarupyasya Kripa Sindhubhyev च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, assembled devotees की जय. Thank you everyone for joining today's mid-morning class. May I know who will join?
Hare Krishna, Vrindavan Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Jai Shri Prabhupada, this is Krishnas Personality from Atlanta. Thank you, Mataji, for your warm association.
Hare Krishna, Priti Vilasni Mataji, Danvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining every single day, and all glories to your wonderful services. Welcome to the call.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, so glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharajas and all the assembled Vaishnavas. This is Caitanya Bhagavata Adi.
Hare Krishna, Caitanya Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your sweet association. Welcome to the call. All glories to your wonderful services. Hare Krishna, is there anybody who would like to introduce themselves? Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Vrinda's mother, tempered pranam to you and all Vaishnava. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Vrinda Gopika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your sweet association. Welcome to the call. Hare Krishna, is there anybody?
Sri Vrindavan and all the film devotees joining from San Antonio, Texas.
Hare Krishna, Shashidhar Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for joining every single day. Welcome to the call. Is there anybody who would like to introduce themselves? Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glory to Srila Prabhupada. This is Neetu from Vaishnav.
Hare Krishna, Neetu Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining every day. Welcome to the call. Is there anybody who would like to introduce themselves? Please go ahead. We have a couple more minutes. Okay, then I'll start recording if nobody wants to introduce. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have His Grace Arjun Sakha Prabhu to enlighten us on the topic of Caitanya Bhagavata Adi khanda, chapter 17, 113 verse onwards. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Before I hand over the call to you, I would like to read today's Srila Prabhupada quote, Prabhuji. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. April 6th. A good citizen knows what is lawful work and what is unlawful work. You can hide yourself from the eyes of police men made law, but it is not possible to hide yourself from the eyes of the Supreme, because the Supreme is sitting within your heart. Mumbai, April 6th, 1977. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, once again, please accept my respectful obeisances. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for joining and giving your valuable time and association this morning and enlightening us on the topic of Caitanya Bhagavat. I now hand over the call to you, Prabhuji. Please take over the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for the very kind introduction. And thank you, dear devotees, for very kindly joining us from whichever part of the world we are joining from. Very good morning, good evening. And before we begin, let us chant the Mangalacharan prayers, also called as the invocation prayers, seek auspiciousness from our spiritual superiors like Srila Prabhupada, and then get started in our today's discussion. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam tam sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanostute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamine Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadhi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Anandalila Vigrahaya Hemavadivya Chavi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasapradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Hare Krishna. This morning we are reading from the Sri Caitanya Bhagavat, the Adi Khanda, chapter 17, which is entitled The Lord's Travel to Gaya, text 113 onwards. Atma prakashera asi hoila samaya dine dine bade prema bhaktira vijaya. Translation: as the time became ripe for the Lord to reveal himself, his loving devotional sentiments increased day by day. Commentary by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada. While playing the role of an ideal devotee, the Supreme Lord Gaurasundar thereafter enacted the pastime of displaying the internal mentality of a self-realized, surrendered living entity. Progressively, Dasya Prema Bhakti, Sakhya Prema Bhakti, Vatsalya Prema Bhakti, and Madhurya Prema Bhakti, in the mood of a beloved, increased in the Lord's heart in ever fresh ways. Vatsalya Prema Bhakti is included in Madhurya Prema Bhakti. Sakhya Prema Bhakti is included in Vatsalya Prema Bhakti. Dasya Prema Bhakti is included in Sakhya Prema Bhakti, and the neutral Shanta Bhakti is included in Dasya Prema Bhakti. The eternal constitutional form of a conditioned soul is first covered by a subtle body in the form of mind, and then covered by gross body to wander throughout the external world. Within these two temporary material bodies, the eternal spirit soul is situated. As soon as the dormant soul is revived, the material body and the mind of the conditioned state immediately come under control. Otherwise, when these two material designations are prominent and the spirit soul is not awakened from his conditioned state, no symptoms of the propensity for serving the Supreme Lord, which is the eternally perfected constitutional duty, are found in him. Text 114. Eka dina mahaprabhu vasiya nibarte Nija ishta mantra dhyana lagila karite. One day, the Lord sat down in a solitary place and began to meditate on his 10-syllable mantra. Text 115. Dhyana nande mahaprabhu. Dhyana nande mahaprabhu. Bahiya prakashiya korite lagila prabhu rodana dakiya. Translation. After some time, when the Lord regained his external consciousness, he began to shed tears and call for Krishna. In the interest of time, I will not read the commentary for that. Text 116. Krishna re bapa re mora jivana shri hare konadike gela mora prana kari churi. Oh my dear Krishna, oh Father, oh Hari, my life and soul, where did you go after stealing my heart? Being situated in the mood of pure dasya ras as a servant of Krishna, the Lord considered Krishna as his father and himself as the son and began to speak as follows. O Father Krishna, you are my life and soul. Where did you go stealing my heart? I have become overwhelmed by not finding the object stolen by you. But I have certainly understood that the same thief who has stolen my heart is my maintainer and protector. Text 117. Pai no Ishwara mora konaki ke gela shloka padi prabhu kandite lagila. I saw my Lord, but now where has he gone? The Lord then began to cry and recite various verses. The verses dealing with feelings of separation from Krishna in the Srimad Bhagavatam are as follows. Canto 10, chapter 30, text 5 to 12. Canto 10, chapter 31, text 10 to 31. And Canto 10, chapter 47, text 12 to 21. So Canto 10, chapter 30 is one chapter before the Gopi Geet. Canto 10, chapter 31 is the section of Gopi Geet, the song of the separation of the Praja Gopis. And Canto 10, chapter 47 is the Brahmar Geet, the song of the bumblebee, where the bumblebee, who is none other than the black Shyamasundar, comes to Vrindavan in disguise to be with Srimati Radharani. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is chanting these verses in separation. Last verse for the day. Prema bhakti rase magna haela ishvara sakala shri anga haela dhulaya dusara. The Lord was absorbed in sentiments of ecstatic love, and his entire body was covered with dust. Shri Shachinandan Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki jai. We see in this section, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is remembering Krishna and is crying in separation from Krishna and chanting verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam that are in the mood of separation, glorifying this personality Krishna. But before we even dive into that, the question arises, who is Krishna? We oftentimes say we are Krishna conscious, but who is this Krishna? It is the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, but who is this personality Krishna? This word Krishna is broken down into two words, Krish and Na. The word Krish stands for Akarshan or Akarshati, to attract. Krishna is like the transcendental magnet and we are the iron filings. Just like the iron filings will naturally get attracted to the magnet wherever they are. Likewise, we are like the iron filings. and Krishna is that magnet. But the problem is, if the iron filings have rust, then they don't get attracted to the magnet. The problem is not there in the magnet. The problem is there in the iron filings. If the iron filings have rust, they don't get attracted to the magnet. Likewise, we have the rust of lust. And that is why we are not getting attracted to the all-powerful, the magnetic energy like Sri Krishna. Krishna is very attractive, but our heart is not getting attracted because we have the rust of lust. So the word Krish stands for Akarshati or Akarshan, and Na stands for Ananda. That personality who attracts your heart and fills your heart with joy, with Ananda, is Krishna. Krish means attraction and Na means Ananda. Like we have when we go to Braj, we go to Varsana. Now, it can either be pronounced as Varsana, or in Vrindavan, the verb becomes Ba. The Brajavasis, the verb becomes Ba. Just like Vraja becomes Braja. Vrindavan becomes Brindavan. Like for those devotees who have been to New Vrindavan in America, in West Virginia, Prabhupada didn't name it New Vrindavan. He named it New Vrindavan, B-A-N. So Prabhupada has also done it. So it is a proper sampradaya. It is very logical and it is bona fide. So V becomes Ba. Likewise, Varsana can also be called Barsana. But what does it actually mean? Varsha means rain. Like we say Varsha Rutu, the season of rain. We have Sharad Rutu, Varsha Rutu, Hemanta Rutu, and so many others. So Varsha means rain and Na means Ananda. That place where Radharani fills your heart with torrential rains of Ananda is Varshana. That place where whether you want or not, Radharani fills your heart with so much joy that you can not reject. The happiness that she gives to your heart is Varshana. Likewise, Krishna. Na means Ananda and Krish means attraction. He who attracts your heart, whether you want or not, there is no option. Krishna forcefully attracts our heart and gives Ananda, gives joy. And naturally we find this process is so blissful. It is so blissful. When we perform Krishna consciousness, we don't get a salary, but we are still so blissful. We naturally go to the temple, we wash the pots, we naturally go into kirtan, we naturally mop the floor. We don't get any money for it, but we are still blissful. But the same thing outside in the material world, even if we are paid a salary, it is still miserable. In spite of getting the salary, it is still miserable. But in Krishna consciousness, we find, even though we are not getting any salary, we are still blissful. Which means to make ourselves happy, money is not the criteria. Money doesn't make us happy, because if money really made us happy, we will never join Krishna consciousness, because we don't get any money here. But we are still happily here listening and chanting and performing devotional service only to convince ourselves that, wait a minute, money is not the requirement to make the jiva happy. The jiva is naturally happy when he comes in contact with Krishna. But because we are there around in this world, we are conditioned and notioned so much that, Prabhu, if you don't have money, you will be very unhappy. So we naturally go with the flow. But Krishna is that personality who attracts us and gives so much joy to the heart. And not just us. Krishna attracts everyone. Purusha Yoshita Kiba Sthavara Jangam Sarva Chitta Karshak Sakshat Manmata Madan. Kaviraj Goswami in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita explains, who is this Krishna? Krishna attracts the Stree, the ladies. Yes, this is understood. He attracts the Braja Gopis. But Kaviraj Goswami says, not just the Stree, even Purusha. He even attracts the male members. Krishna is so attractive, even the male members get attracted by his personality. So many in the history, whether it's the Pandavas, whether it is so many of our Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas, and so many other personalities. Even Purusha have gone attracted. So Stree getting attracted, ladies getting attracted, Vaishnavis getting attracted, understandable. But Krishna is such a personality, even Purusha gets attracted. What to speak of Purusha? Sthavara Jangam, even the moving and the non-moving get attracted. The birds of the air, the fish of the ocean, the animals. In the Bhagavatam we find that the deer, when they go to the forest, they are hearing the flute of Krishna and they are naturally attracted by the flute playing of Krishna. And when Radharani and the Braja Gopis, they see that the deers are naturally going to forest, they are thinking to themselves, how fortunate are these deers? Their family members don't stop them. Their husbands don't stop them. But look at our misfortune. Our family and our husbands, they are binding us to this samsara chakra. They are binding us to this family line. But these deers are so blessed that they can go to Krishna and they can hear Krishna's flute. So the moving are getting attracted. And even the non-moving are getting attracted. The trees. When in the Canto 10, chapter 15, we find the Srimad Bhagavatam, the verse starts with Krishna and Balaram entering the forest. And Krishna tells Balaram, when Krishna and Balaram are entering forest, the trees are bowing down to both these brothers. And Krishna tells Balaram that, oh Balaram, now that you have entered the forest, these trees are so happy that they're coming and they're wanting to touch you. They're wanting to offer their obeisances to you. And Balaram says, no, Krishna, they're actually wanting to touch you. And Krishna says, no, but thou. And it goes back and forth. The two transcendental brothers have loving exchanges. This chapter starts that way. So the moving get attracted. Non-moving are getting attracted. The grass gets attracted. Purusha, Yoshita, Sthavara, Jangam, the male, the female, the moving, non-moving. What to speak of male, female, moving, non-moving? Even Cupid gets attracted. Sarva Chita Akarshaka Sakshat. Krishna attracts everyone. Manmata Madhan. He attracts everyone. Cupid is Manmatha. Why Manmatha? Because Man means mind. And Mathana in Hindi means to churn. He churns our mind. Cupid churns our mind. When two personalities come together, there is a loving attraction. And then samsara chakre brahmata swakarmavi, as Vritrasur explains, two people come together and now they're bound in the samsara chakra. So Cupid churns our mind. So much so that the person completely becomes blank. Like in English, they say, blind in love. We know it is blind, but still people are naturally taken that path with no control. So Cupid churns our mind. But who is Krishna? Manmata Madan. He churns the mind of that Cupid. That Cupid who churns everyone's mind, when he sees the form of Krishna and Vrindavan, his mind gets churned. But who is Srimati Radharani? Madan Mohan Mohini. She churns the mind of Krishna, who churns the mind of Cupid, who churns our mind. How wonderful. Srimati Radharani is Madan Mohan Mohini. She churns the mind of Krishna, who churns the mind of Cupid, who churns our mind. So Krishna is attracting the male. Krishna is attracting the female. Krishna is attracting the moving. Krishna is attracting the non-moving. Krishna is attracting Cupid. Krishna is even attracting Lakshmi Devi. Lakshmi Devi, who's so chaste, when she heard from Narada Muni about the wonderful glories of Krishna and Vrindavan, she left Vaikunta and she came to Belwan to do tapasya, to get the foot dust of Sri Krishna. And we see that Nagapatnis, when they are offering their prayers in the Kaliya pastime, and they're offering their prayers to Krishna, they say very beautifully, Kasyanubhavo syanadeva vidmahe tavangri renu sparashadikara yadvanchaya shri lalanacharattapo vihaya kamam shuchira dridavrata. The Nagapatnis, these verses of Bhagavatam are so beautiful, dear devotees. They are so beautiful. If they can be by-hearted, it is instant burst of nectar. Whether we know the meaning or not, just by hearing the verses in that melody, in that meter, it gives so much happiness. These Nagapatnis are telling Krishna that, my dear Lord, we don't know what our husband has done. This snake, We don't know what he has done. Lakshmi Devi is doing so much tapasya in Belvan, and she is finding it difficult to get the food dust of you, my dear Lord. And we have no idea what our husband has done. He is spitting poison, and the whole of Yamuna is polluted. But my dear Lord, you're so merciful. You are giving the food dust to him. Yad Vanchaya Shri Lalana Charatapo. She is waiting. Shri Lakshmi Devi is waiting when her forehead can be decorated with the food dust of Krishna. But my dear Lord, you are so merciful. He is not even praying, but you are voluntarily coming. Lakshmi Devi is leaving Vaikuntha to come to Vrindavan and praying, but my dear Lord, you are not going there. He is not even coming to you. He is in Yamuna, but you are so kind. You are jumping to Yamuna and you are letting him embrace through his coils. And now you are giving your signature on his hoods. My dear Lord, you are so merciful. Kasyanu bhavo syana deva vidmahe tava angri renu. Angri means the feet. We have Pankajangri Prabhu, the two transcendental brothers of ISKCON, Jananivas Prabhu and Pankajangri Prabhu. The world has never seen this duo, this combination, where both brothers came in touch with Prabhupada, both joined Krishna conscious movement, both brahmacharis, and both in Mayapur for so many decades. One serving Shri Shri Radha Madhav and one serving Nrsingadev. The transcendental brothers of ISKCON. Jananivas Prabhu and Pankajangri Prabhu. So Pankajangri, Pankaja means lotus and Angri means feet. And Krishna's lotus feet. Krishna's feet is lotus. So his lotus feet, Pankajangri. Likewise, here the word is used. Tava Angri Renu, my dear Lord. You are so kind. You are giving your lotus feet dust to him. So Krishna is attracting even Lakshmi Devi. What to speak of Lakshmi? Krishna is attracting even Vishnu. Krishna is attracting even Vishnu. Krishna is attracting male. Krishna is attracting female. He is attracting moving. He is attracting non-moving. He is attracting Cupid. He is attracting Lakshmi. He is even attracting Vishnu. Why? Because we find in Canto 10, chapter 89, when Krishna was in Dwaraka, there was this one Brahmana, and he had one son, and that son disappeared. He departed. And after that, another 6 children departed this way. So he was very perplexed, and he went to Krishna because Krishna was the king. And he was in a very angry mood to go and complain to Krishna. Because it is generally said that if something wrong is happening in the kingdom, probably the king is not very righteous. There is some discrepancy in the kingdom because of which the citizens are getting affected. So he went and complained to Krishna that, my dear Lord, it is because of you. You are probably not taking proper care of the citizens, and because of that, we are getting affected. So when Arjuna got to hear this, Arjuna said, don't worry. The next child that appears, I will protect. So this Brahmana became very happy. The next child appeared, and Arjuna was ready with his bow and arrow. He was ready with his Gandiva. And the next child appeared, and he again disappeared. So this Brahmana was perplexed. And Arjuna was equally perplexed. What is going on? My Gandiva is so powerful, and this child is coming and disappearing. What is happening? So he went to Krishna. Krishna, please explain. What is this? And Krishna said, don't worry. This is Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam. This is transcendental knowledge. Don't worry. And Krishna held the hand of Arjuna and took him to Vaikuntha. They went to see Vishnu. And when they went to see Vishnu, all the children were there as it is. So Krishna looked, and Krishna asked Vishnu that all the children are here, which means you took charge of them. But why did you do that? And at that point, Vishnu tells Krishna that, my dear Lord, it's enough. You have been down in the material world for a very long time. You have been killing demons for a very long time. My dear Lord, I had this very earnest desire to see you. Who is saying? Vishnu is saying, who's not different from the Supreme Lord. My dear Lord, I wanted to see you. It's been a very, very long time I have not seen you. So my dear Lord, I just thought that if I take these children away from you, I can see you face to face, my dear Lord. Now that you are here in front of me, I'm very, very happy. You can take these children away. I am not behind the children, but I want to see your lotus face. Who is saying? Vishnu is saying. Vishnu, who is so attractive, he gets attracted to the form of Krishna. How wonderful. Dvijatmaja me yuvayote dikshunam mayo panita grih dharma guptaye kalavatirna bhavaner bharasuran hatveha bhuyastvaraye tamantime. Vishnu chants this word and says that, my dear Lord, Dvijatmaja me yuvayo dikshuna. I took the Dvija, the Brahmanas children, not because I have anything against them, but my dear Lord, I want to see your lotus face. You have killed enough demons, my dear Lord. You have ruled Dwaraka for a good amount of time. Now the Yadu dynasty is there. Krishna, please come back. And Vishnu has tears in his eyes, begging Krishna to come back, wanting to see Krishna. So how beautiful is this personality? The male get attracted, the female get attracted, the moving and non-moving are getting attracted, Cupid is getting attracted, Lakshmi is getting attracted, Narayan or Vishnu is getting attracted. What to speak of all of them? Krishna attracts himself. Krishna is so beautiful, he attracts himself. Krishnera madhurya Krishna upajaye lobh samyak akarshite nare mane rahe kshobh. Krishnera madhurya Krishna. When Krishna sees himself, Krishna is perplexed. Who is this personality who is so beautiful? Rupa Goswami in Lalit Madhav Natak explains, Aparita Kali Purva Kaschamatkara. When Krishna was there in Dwaraka and he was seeing in a bedecked pillar, and Krishna saw his own form, Krishna was so enamored. Krishna was thinking to himself, who is this personality? He is more beautiful than me. He has more sweetness than me. Krishnera madhurya Krishna. He has more madhurta than me. Upajaye lobh. There was a greed that developed in Krishna's heart. But samyak akarshite nare. Samyak aswadite nare. Krishna thought to himself, I cannot taste his complete sweetness. He is so beautiful and so wonderful, but somehow I'm not able to taste his complete sweetness. Mane rahe kshobh. This sadness was there in his heart. That Krishna is beautiful, but I'm not able to see him. It is he himself. He is seeing his own reflection. But Krishna is getting attracted to his own personality. This is a very big thing Kaviraj Goswami is explaining. Male, female getting attracted, understandable. Moving, non-moving getting attracted, understandable. Lakshmi getting attracted, big thing. Narayan getting attracted, even bigger thing. But Krishna getting attracted to himself, how can we understand this? It's like we getting attracted to ourselves. Of course, in Kali Yuga, it's not very difficult, because when the mind is conditioned, we feel that we are the best and we feel we are the most attractive. But this is not what Krishna is experiencing. Krishnera madhurya Krishna upajaya lobh. The greed developed in the heart of Krishna. And how I wish samyak aswadite nare mane rahe kshobh. How I wish that I switch positions. How I wish, Rupa Goswami explains in Lalit Madhav Natak, Krishna is thinking to himself, how I wish I switch sides. And just like Radharani embraces this form, how I wish I can also switch sides and from the lens of Radharani see who is this beautiful personality, Krishna. We spoke about Krish being attraction, and now means Ananda. Krishna himself is experiencing that. He himself is getting attracted to himself, and he himself is giving joy to himself. How can we understand this, dear devotees? This word that we say, Krishna consciousness, this word, leave alone consciousness. This word Krishna itself is so deep that it can take lifetimes to understand. Leave alone being Krishna conscious. How wonderful is this personality, Krishna? So when Krishna can attract the male, the female, the moving, the non-moving, Lakshmi, Narayan, Cupid, and he himself, now we can imagine what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going through. Because here in this section, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is remembering Krishna and is having viraha, is having separation from Krishna. When these personalities like moving and non-moving, Sthavara, Jangama, male and female are getting attracted. Lakshmi and Narayana are getting attracted. Krishna is getting attracted to himself. What is the mood and what volcano of ecstasy is going on in the heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he's chanting verses from the Gopi Geet, when he's chanting verses from the Brahma Geet? Krishna in Vrindavan is a very, very special personality. The Lord whom we worship is a very, very sweet personality, dear devotees. Outside of Vrindavan, he is very, very powerful. Outside of Vrindavan in the Mahabharata, he runs with a wheel and he protects Arjuna and he protects the Pandavas. Without fighting, he still fights. In the Mahabharata, we find Barbarism was one such personality in the Mahabharata who was very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. When Krishna asked different personalities, he asked Bhishma Dev, how much time will it take for him to destroy the whole army? And Bhishma Dev said, oh, my dear Lord, it will take me about 3 days. And he asked Arjuna, that my dear Arjuna, how much time will it take for you to destroy the whole army? And Arjuna mentioned, oh, my dear Lord, it will take me about 2 days. And at that time, Barbarism entered. And Krishna asked Barbarism, that how much time will it take for you to enter? And he looked around and said, oh, less than 1 day. And Krishna was thinking, less than 1 day? What will you do? He said, my dear Lord, I have 3 kinds of arrows. The first arrow will map all the targets. The second arrow will just point out the personalities whom I have to kill and exclude the personalities whom I don't want to kill. And in the third arrow, Gaura Premanande, those personalities whom are supposed to be killed, they will be completely killed. So my dear Lord, in 3 arrows, I can finish. And Barbarism was very, very powerful. And eventually, cutting the long story short, I don't want the class to go from Braj Leela to Mahabharat Leela. But anyway, we find that Barbarism is one personality who did not fight the Mahabharata. And Krishna kept him in the battle in the form of his head. Krishna kept his head on the top of a peepal tree because he wanted to see the whole of Mahabharata. So at the end, when this question arose that who killed more people? And Arjuna said, oh, it's naturally me. My Gandiva is so powerful, I killed the most personalities. And Bhimsen said, no, it's me. And it went back and forth. So Krishna said, let's do one thing. Let's go to Barbarism. He will answer. So they went to Barbarism because his head was there on the top of a peepal tree. When they went to Barbarism and they asked that, what do you think? You are Sakshi, you are witness, you saw the whole Mahabharata. So you gave us an unbiased opinion. Who killed the most personalities? And Arjuna was hoping his name will be said. Bhima was hoping his name will be said. They were all waiting when their name will be said. And that time Barbarism explains that actually it is Krishna's Sudarshan Chakra that killed everyone. Sitting here, I was seeing everyone was simply an instrument, but it is Krishna's Sudarshan Chakra that was going from person to person and cutting and killing and finishing off everyone. Like a laser surgery, Krishna's Sudarshan Chakra was going from person to person. So Krishna did all the work, but he's very kind that he gives credit to his devotees. So outside of Vrindavan, Krishna is very, very powerful. But what to speak of Vrindavan Dham? In Vrindavan, Krishna has no Shakti. Why no Shakti? Because Rupa Goswami explains for his protection, Krishna has 4 types of friends. The Sakhiras that is explained here, Caitanya Bhagavata explains Sakhiras. This Sakhiras is classified into 4 types. The Radhakrishna Gadadesha Dipika of Srila Rupa Goswami explains there are 4 types of Sakhas. What are the 4 types of Sakhas? First are the Surit Sakhas. Surit Sakhas are those who are elder to Krishna in age and they protect Krishna. He who gives protection in the Mahabharata to the Pandavas, in Vrindavandam, he is seeking protection from his friends. Those are the Surit Sakhas. They're older to Krishna in age. And then you have the Sakhas who are younger to Krishna in age, like Vishal Sakha. Then you have friends who are same age of Krishna as Priya Sakhas. They fight with Krishna, they wrestle with Krishna, they punch with Krishna, they sit on the chest of Krishna. They play Gora Gadi with Krishna. They sit on the back of Krishna. All these wonderful, sweet games. It is the Priya Sakhas who do. And then you have the Priya Narma Sakhas, like Subal and so many others. Subal Sakha is the leader, where they are in Sakhiras and in Shringaras and Madhuriras also. So he who gives protection to people outside, in Vrindavan, he needs protection. The Supreme Lord, in the 11th canto, he explains that Devarshi bhutapta nrinam pitrinam na kinkara naim nricha rajan sarvatmana ya sharanam sharanyam gato mukunda pariritya kartam. Krishna says that anyone who worships me are free from the debt of these 7 personalities. Deva, the demigods, we are all indebted to the demigods. Indra, Chandra, Agni, Vayu, Varuna, we all take their help. Whether it's the sunlight, whether it's the moonlight, whether it's fire, we are taking their help. So we are indebted. The rishis, because they have written so many scriptures, we are indebted to them also. So Bhagavatam explains like this: there are 7 personalities. Devarshi, Bhuta, Apta, Drinam, Pitrunam, our forefathers. Drinam is the people around. Kinkara, the servants. But Sarvatmana ya Sharanam Sharanya Gato Mukunda Pariritya Kartam. Krishna says, anyone who takes shelter of me, that is Mukunda, I give them liberation from these 7 personalities. If someone worships Krishna, then he is not yet, he is no more indebted to these 7 personalities. But if someone doesn't worship Krishna, then the debt of these personalities are there. So the point is, Krishna is saying by worshipping him, the debt can be removed. But this is outside of Vrindavan. What is he saying in Vrindavan? Na parayeham niravadya samyujam swasadhu krityam vibudha piva yama bhajandur jaragyeha shrinkhalam samvrichayatat pratiyati sadhunam. After the Gopi Geet is done, Krishna comes out from the groves, falls at their feet and says, Na parayeham niravadya samyujam. My dear Gopis, I cannot repay to the love that you have given me even in a lifetime of Brahma. My dear Gopis, I am eternally indebted to you. By worshipping whom our debt is removed and we become free from debt, he tells the Braja Gopis that in Vrindavan Dham, I am completely indebted. How can we understand this, Krishna? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is thinking about this Vrindavan Krishna, and we are talking last 37 minutes, we are talking about this Vrindavan Krishna, whom we are worshipping. By worshipping whom the debt of these 7 personalities is completely taken away, he says to the Braja Gopis in Madhuri and Shringaras that I am completely indebted. How can we understand? So in Vrindavan, love supersedes everything. Love topples everything. In Vrindavan, logic doesn't work. Love works. And this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming down to give. This mood of the Brajavasis. Aradhyo Bhagavan Brajesh Tanayas Tadhama Brindavanam Ramya Kajitupasanam Brajavadhum Varghena Ya Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanamamalam Prema Pumar Thomahan Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Matamidam Tatradhara Napara. Srinath Chakravarti in his Chaitanya Matamanjusha explains, Aradhya Bhagavan Vrajesh Tanayas. हम किन की आराधना करते हैं? हम द्वारका कृष्ण की आराधना नहीं करते, हम मथुरा वाले कृष्ण की आराधना नहीं करते, लेकिन गौड़ीय संप्रदाय में, इन गौड़ीय संप्रदाय, आराध्य भगवान ब्रजेश तनयस, we worship the son of Nanda Maharaj, that is Vrindavan Krishna. And what is our worshipable land? Tadhama Vrindavanam. It is the land of Vrindavan. We don't know any other place from apart from Vrindavan, and we don't want to know any other place apart from Vrindavan. But Vrindavan is open. This mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is open for experiencing only for those who are always serving in the mood of a servant. Those who are always situated in this mood that they are the servant of the Supreme Lord. Vrindavan is open for them. Vrindavan is not open for them, those who are proud and pompous and puffed up. Recently, few days back, there was a photo that was circulated all around, and probably we would have seen in one of the meetings that happened in Mumbai. There was this register and everyone had to write their names. And the first name was Srila Radhanath Maharaj's name. And next to the name was the title, the post, what post you are in. And different people wrote their names as they are the vice president, they are the president, and this and that. And Srila Radhanath Maharaj wrote his name as Radhanath Swami and the post as Das. He wrote the post as Das. And it's such a viral photo that's going around. It's not just a matter of saying it, dear devotees. There are devotees of the Lord who are actually completely situated and are experiencing this mood of constantly being in the mood of Gopi Bhartur Padakamale or Dasa 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 Anudas. Only those who are constantly situated in this mood of being the servant of the Lord, for them Vrindavan is open. Vrindavan is open for them. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we find, is thinking about that Krishna. And as we know, after Jagannath Mishra passed away, Sri Sachinandan Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he went as Nimai Pandit, he went to Gaya and he did the final rites, and there he met his Guru Maharaj, Ishwar Puripad, and he was instructed, or he was given his Diksha. Here when we say Diksha, it is not primarily the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it is the Diksha mantras, which means the Gayatri mantras. Kiba mantra dila gosai, kiba tara bal, japite japite mantra karela pagal, japite japite mantra karela pagal. Kiba mantra dila gosai, kiba tara bal, japite japite mantra karela pagal. That, my dear Gurudev, what kind of mantra have you given me? I am chanting these Diksha mantras and I am becoming pagal, I am becoming mad. We are also chanting. We are also chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We don't experience this. The world makes us go pagal, but not the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, not the Diksha mantras. And primarily, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting the Diksha mantras, he was chanting the Gopal mantra. And in the Gopal mantra also, those who are Brahmanically initiated will know that there are three parts to the Gopal mantra: Sambandha, Abhidaya, and Prayojan. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting the Prayojan part of the Gopal mantra. So that's the 10-syllable mantra that is referred in this purport. He was chanting the 10-syllable mantra because Hare Krishna Mahamantra is not a 10-syllable mantra. And if Gayatri mantras are to be taken, there are so many mantras. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting the Gopal mantra, that also the Prayojan part, the last part of the Gopal mantra. Of course, I will not say it because those who are not Brahmanically initiated, it's not proper. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is chanting these mantras and is getting ecstasy, and he gets a spurati of Sri Krishna. And then Krishna disappears. He sees Krishna in his heart, and then Krishna disappears. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu falls down to the ground. Kaha mora prananatha murali badan. Kaha mora prananatha. Oh, where is my prananath? Murali badan, he who plays the flute. Where should I go? How should I find him? Where should I go? The flute player gave me spurti, but now he has disappeared. What is another example from the scriptures? We find the previous life of Narada Muni. The previous life of Narada Muni, when he served the Bhakti Vedantas, and later when he goes to the forest, the Supreme Lord appears before him. But that's it. Throughout the life, the Supreme Lord doesn't appear after that. The Supreme Lord appears and gives him some inspiration, some spurti, but then he doesn't appear. So likewise here for Nimai, the Lord appears and then disappears, and now he's crying even more. It's like a plate of sandesh is given in front of you, is presented in front of you, and now you're about to relish, but now the plate is taken away from you. इससे अच्छा तो यही होता कि आप दिखाते नहीं हमारे सामने. You show the plate of sandesh, you show the plate of sweets, and then when I'm ready to take, you're now taking it away from me. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Nimai Pandit sees the form of Krishna. And now that spurti is taken away. So he's crying even more. And finally, now Nimai comes back to Nadia. But now he is no longer Nimai Pandit. He is now Bhavuk Nimai. He is now Rasik Nimai. Because now Bhav, like the waves are traveling in his heart. He has seen Krishna. He is chanting Diksha mantras. Now Bhav is there in his heart. He is no longer the argumentative Nimai Pandit. He is Bhavuk or he is Rasik Nimai. Srila Prabhupada would say about Jamuna Mataji that, oh, Jamuna Mataji, she's on the platform of Bhav. Prabhupada had made this statement. Yamuna, she's on the platform of Bhav. So, Krishna consciousness is beyond male, female. Whether we are male, whether we are female, moving, non-moving, Sthavara Jangam, whoever we are, we can get attracted to Krishna and we can make advancement. There is nothing that stops us. As Sripada Indraprabhu would very often, he would say that only thing that stops us from making advancement is we ourselves. No one is responsible for our lack of advancement except ourselves. There is everything at our disposal. There are the books of Prabhupada. There are the books of predecessor acharyas, which are translated to English. There is even no need to learn Sanskrit. Of course, if someone wants to, they can, but everything is translated. The word to word is there. The Goswami books have been translated. The Vaishnava songs are there. The devotees are there. The temples are there. Diksha gurus are there. Everything is there for making advancement. The only person who's responsible for our lack of advancement is we ourselves. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that one can rise from Namaparada to Shuddhanam, to chanting the pure name in 3 years. In 3 years. We take lifetimes. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains one can go from Namaparada to Shuddhanam in just a matter of 3 years, chanting the pure name, which means Krishna dancing on their tongue, Shyamasundar dancing on their tongue. So we can imagine Nimai is experiencing these moods. He's in the mood of Bhav. He's now Bhavuk Nimai, and now he comes back to Nadia. And now as Bhavuk Nimai comes back to Nadia, he sees the brother of Srivas. And as he sees the brother of Srivas sees him and says that, seems like you're very, very happy. Did you see something while you were there? Did you see something? And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is having tears in his eyes. And he says, yes, I saw something. But I will tell you tomorrow in the house of Shuklambar Brahmachari. I will not tell you now. Tomorrow morning, please come to the house of Shuklambar Brahmachari. I will explain to you what I saw. So this brother of Srivas, he says, okay. And next day morning, the brother of Srivas, he goes to the house of Srivas Thakur. And in the house of Srivas Thakur, there was a jasmine tree. And all the devotees like Gadadhar Pandit, Advaita Acharya, Srivas Thakur, they would all come to the house of Srivas to collect these flowers for their puja every single day. That was their niyam. So the next day morning, the brother of Srivas, he came and he was smiling. He was beaming with happiness. So everyone saw and they said, oh, seems like you're very happy. Do you have something to share? And he said, yes. Nimai has become a Vaishnav. Nema has become a Vaishnav. He is no longer that Nema who would debate and argue. Last night I saw he was having tears. Nema has become a Vaishnav. The prayers that we would always chant day in and day out, now that has fructified. He has become a Vaishnav. So no one was ready to accept. So Nema has become a Vaishnav. He said, yes, Nema has actually become a Vaishnav. And you know what? He has called us to the house of Shuklambar Brahmachari. He's going to come there today and he's going to speak something that he saw in Gaya. So let us all go to the house of Shuklambar Brahmachari. So they said, okay. And all of them went to the house of Shuklambar Brahmachari to see in reality whether Nema had changed, and Gadadhar also went. But Gadadhar was hiding in a different room. There was a crack in the door. And from that crack in the door, he wanted to peep and actually see whether in reality Nema is changed or whether it's just a temporary transformation of Nimai Pandit. Nimai came to that room And when he saw everyone with tilak and kanthi, everyone was having a tilak, everyone was having a kanthi. Caitanya Bhagavata explains, Vrindavan Das Thakur explains that a forehead without a tilak is like a graveyard. This is Vrindavan Das Thakur. A forehead without a tilak is like a graveyard. So tilak and kanthi, this is the ornament of a devotee. Gold, silver, diamonds, these are external. Iho by here. But the real ornament for a devotee is tilak and kanthi. And now we find here everyone was wearing tilak and kanthi. And Nimai Pandit sees that. And he starts remembering Krishna even more. Ha ha Krishna, tumi gela kathi. Ha ha Krishna, tumi gela kathi. Now seeing the tilak and kanti, he's remembering Krishna even more. Now the ecstasy has risen to such an extent that it's bursting out. Tears are flowing from his eyes. And he's remembering Krishna even more. He looks at everyone and starts crying. In the house of Shuklambar Brahmachari, as it was thatched roof, it was made with bamboo sticks. It was supported with bamboo sticks. So he held on to one of the bamboo sticks, our Nimai. But he was so much in ecstasy, so much in viraha, that when he held down to the bamboo stick, he fell down to the ground and the whole thing came crashing down. The whole house of Shuklambar Brahmachari came crashing down. And Nimai was crying, and seeing Nimai completely unconscious, not in his external senses, all the devotees started to do kirtan. And now everyone, as they started to do kirtan, Srivas, his brother, Advaita Acharya, all of them started to do kirtan. Shuklambar Brahmachari. Now they were having tears. Rather than stopping Nimai from having tears and rather than getting Nimai back to consciousness, they were all chanting the Shuddhanam, they were all chanting pure name to such an extent that now everyone was having tears. So earlier it was one problem, Nimai was crying. Now we had many more problems. Everyone in this assembly were crying. And finally, by hearing the chanting of the holy name, Nimai gets up. And everyone becomes quiet in the room. But there is someone still sobbing. There is someone still sobbing in the room. And Nimai hears and he looks at Shuklambar Brahmachari and says, is there anyone else in this room? Because everyone here that I see is quiet. Is there anyone else in this room? And Shuklambar Brahmachari, he nods. He says, yes, my dear Lord. So he says, who? Who is there in this room? And he points towards Gadadhar. And Gadadhar is behind the door. So Nimai slowly opens the door and Gadadhar sitting down and sobbing and crying. Nimai looks at him and says, my dear Gadadhar, you were always devotional. You were always following this path. And you would always ask me to be devotional. But I was always into debates. I was always into arguments. But my dear Gadadhar, by your blessings, by your prayers, now slowly some realization has come in my heart. By the mercy of my Gurudev and by chanting the Diksha mantras, some change has come in my heart. My dear Gadadhar, please tell me, why are you crying? Gadadhar looked at Nimai and said, that day for which I was praying for so many years, that only if Nimai becomes a devotee, whole of Nadia will become, that day is now going to become a reality. Gadadhar was having tears in his eyes and thinking, I prayed so much to the Supreme Lord that make this Nimai a devotee. If he transforms, if he changes, the whole of Nadia is going to change. And now seeing you in this state, I am convinced that Nadia is actually going to change. Nimai held the hand of Gadadhar and said, my dear Gadadhar, you are older to me in age. Can you please help me get Krishna? I don't know where Krishna is and I don't know how to get Krishna. I got some spurti of Krishna, but you have Krishna in your heart. You can give Krishna to me. Krishna se tomara, Krishna dite para, tumara shakha diya che. Ami to kangal, Krishna, Krishna boli, daitava pache pache, daitava pache pache. Ami to Kangal, hey Gadadhar Pandit, Ami to Kangal, Krishna, Krishna boli, and chanting the name of Krishna, Krishna. But you have the power to give Krishna to me. I don't know where to go, and I don't know whom to ask, but I know you have Krishna in your heart. My dear Gadadhar, can you please help me get Krishna in my life? And Gadadhar said, sure, I have been waiting for this day. Now that Nimai, as Bhavuk Nimai, as Rasik Nimai is coming to me, why will I not help him? Nimai had completely transformed. But this transformation was so difficult for so many people that even Sachimata had doubts, because she knew Nimai as someone who was always into debates. And now this transformation, it was very difficult even for her. Nimai went to Shrivas and said, my dear Shrivas, everyone thinks I have a disease. Everyone thinks I am diseased. What is your opinion? Do you also think the same? And when Shrivas heard this, he said, my dear Lord, if this is a disease, then I also want to have this disease. If this is a disease, then my dear Lord, I will also be very happy to have this disease. And when Nimai heard this, Nimai smiled and said, my dear Shrivas, thank you. Thank you for telling me this. Because if you would have also said that something is wrong with me, I would have jumped in Ganga and given up my life. But thank you for convincing me that I am still in my senses. One day, Nimai was sitting on the middle of the street, in the middle of the street, and he was crying. Ha ha mora pranadhana, ha ha padma lochana, ha ha mora pranadhana, ha ha padma lochana, ha ha rasa vilasera nagara, ha ha rasa vilasera nagara. Nimai was sitting in the middle of the street and calling and crying out to Krishna with tears in his eyes. Aha, Mora Prananatha, my dear Prananath, your Padma Lochan, your eyes are like a lotus. You are the hero of Rasa dance. You are Rasa Vilasera Nagara. You are the hero of the Rasa dance, my dear Lord. Where have you gone? Why did you leave me? What wrong did I do? You gave me a spurti, but what wrong did I do? And at that time, Gadadhar was walking the street. So Gadadhar looked at this state of Nimai and said, my dear Nimai, don't worry. Krishna is there in your heart. He's there in your heart, don't worry. And when Nimai heard that, Nimai, almost in the mood of Hanuman, started ripping his chest apart. Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Krishna kothai, Krishna kothai. And Gadadhar said, relax. Don't worry, relax. It's like almost joining ISKCON and the first day you want to become a pure devotee. It doesn't happen that way. You have to wait for some time. He told Nimai, wait for some time. But in the mood of Hanuman, he started ripping his chest apart. The Ramayana explains that when the whole battle of Ramayana was done and Maya Sita was got back, Maya Sita wanted to give some gift to Hanuman. And because Hanuman had helped the Lord so much in building the bridge, in fighting, right from day one, Hanuman was there. So she wanted to give a gift. So she gave a necklace that she had to Hanuman, that my dear Hanuman, this is for you. So Hanuman started, every pearl that was there, he started ripping that apart. Every pearl he was ripping. So the minister saw that and said, what are you doing? I mean, we know you are a Vanara, but you don't have to behave like a Vanara. Like, it is a gift that Maya Sita has given. You can protect it. You can keep it nicely. Hanuman said, no, I am seeing if in every pearl Sri Ram and Maya Sita are there. And if they are not there, then it doesn't make any sense to me. I am just throwing them away. So in every pearl, I'm checking. So the ministers, they said, Acha, in every pearl you're checking, is Ram and Sita there in your heart? You are throwing all the pearls away. Is Ram and Sita there in your heart? And that is the point when Hanuman rips his chest apart and shows Sri Ram and Sita that yes, they are there in my heart. Anything that does not have Sri Ram and Maya Sita, I don't accept. So in the mood of Hanuman, in the mood of his own devotee, Here is Bhavuk Nimai, here is Rasik Nimai, ripping his chest apart and thinking about Krishna, trying to find Krishna. Ha ha Krishna, tumi gela kathi. Ha ha Krishna, tumi gela kathi. And it was that unfulfilled desire of Krishna, that he wanted to experience the sweetness of Krishna, that being Krishna, he couldn't do that. And he had that burning desire. He had that greed, as we discussed earlier. Krishnera madhurya Krishna upajaye lobh. He had that lobh, but samyak aswadite nare mane rahe kshobh. He could not taste it fully. And that unfulfilled desire thing was there in his heart. And to fulfill that, he came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But even when he came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he took initiation from Ishwara Puri. But it was still there in his heart. He still couldn't completely taste from the standpoint of Srimati Radharani as to what Srimati Radharani feels when she sees Krishna. And it was Gadadhar Pandit who helped Nimai transform to Bhavuk Nimai. It was Gadadhar Pandit who helped Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fulfill the purpose for which he came down. Who is Gadadhar? Radharani. So if Krishna has to learn the art of seeing from the lens of Srimati Radharani, then he has to learn from the right person. Radharani is the principal of that school, and no one else can teach better than Srimati Radharani. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decides to leave all family ties and go to Jagannath Puri Gambhira, and in seclusion hear from Gadadhar Pandit Srimad Bhagavatam. Imagine the ecstasy, dear devotees. What are they discussing? Srimad Bhagavatam. Where are they discussing? Jagannath Puri. What is the deity next to which they are discussing? Tota Gopinath. Who is the personality discussing? Gadadhar Pandit. Who is Gadadhar Pandit? Radharani. Who is the personal listening? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Krishna in the mood of Radharani. What amazing experience that is going to be. It's a volcano of eruption. Volcano of ecstasy. Golden volcano. As Srila Bhakti Rakshak Maharaj would say, it's a golden volcano. So while being there in Jagannath Puri, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's love and his devotion completely peaked to the highest extent. In Gaya, what we are seeing right now is just a trailer. Like in Hindi, they said, ye to trailer hai, picture abhi baki hai. So in Gaya, it's just a trailer. The complete picture comes in Jagannath Puri, where Mahaprabhu explodes in the mood of Radharani. And no one is there around him except Swarup Damodar and Raya Ramananda, who are Lalita and Vishakha, respectively. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has 3.5 intimate associates, Kaviraj Goswami explains. Now, either it should be 3 associates or it should be 4 associates. What is 3.5? Chaitanya Charitamrita explains Mahaprabhu has 3.5 associates. First is Swarup Damodar Goswami. Well, this we can understand. Second is Ramananda Rai. This also we can understand. Third is a personality by the name Shiki Mahiti, one dear associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhupada named one of his disciples as Shiki Mahiti Prabhu, who was there in Atlanta. It's called Atlanta. So Swarup Damodar Goswami, Ramananda Rai, Shiki Mahiti, and the half is the sister of Shiki Mahiti, who is Madhavi Devi. Now, why is she considered half? Not because she had some bodily ailment. That is not the understanding. She was hale and hearty. But she is considered half because she was a female and Mahaprabhu was a sannyasi. So being a female, she could not fully associate with Mahaprabhu, but she would internally associate in the heart with Mahaprabhu. So she is not a full associate, but considered a half associate. She didn't associate externally, but associate internally. So these personalities helped Chaitanya Mahaprabhu transition from Nimai Pandit to completely ripened form of Bhavuk Nimai. Right now, he is still in an unripened state where he's trying to experience. Emotions are going through his heart, which he has not experienced earlier. But Gadadhar Pandit, Swarup Damodar Goswami, Ramananda Rai, Shiki Mahiti, and of course Madhavi Devi, they all nourish and embellish this mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the extent that now completely in the mood of Radharani, he's crying and chanting verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam, as Chaitanya Bhagavat here explains, whether it is the verse of the Gopi Geet whether it's the verses of the Brahmar Geet or whether it's the verses of that prelude or before the Gopi Geet. Songs in separation from Shri Krishna. So in this way we find Caitanya Bhagavata very beautifully explains these modes of Shri Sachinandan Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Having said this, I very humbly want to stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Sachinandan Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitaya Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Yeah, Preeti Vilasni Mataji, please go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Arjun Sakha Prabhu. What a beautiful class. It was so relishable from beginning to end. I like the way you planned out the class, talking about how Krishna is all attractive and how everybody is attracted, and how Krishna is attracted by himself, and speaking about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the transformation of scholar Nema to Bhauk Nema is so beautiful. Especially, I like the role of Gadadhar Pandit. It was like seeing the pastime in front of my eyes. So thank you for making our morning so beautiful. You're an amazing storyteller, and I enjoyed the class so much. Thank you so much, Prabhu. I hope after hearing this class, at least there is a spark of love for Krishna, at least a minute spark that is evoked in my heart after this class. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you for engaging me in this service. If not for this Bhakti Sangha community, I feel it is very easy to come here and speak for an hour, but to maintain this community for years together and to make sure different speakers are brought in, the coordination that goes in to make sure that this community is running and it's sustained. It's very easy to start something, but it's very difficult to make sure it's sustained. And I see so many speakers are brought in and so many different topics are there, and there are some interviews that goes on. There is a magazine and so many active engagements are there. So I thank you, Preeti Vilasini Mataji, for starting this Bhakti Sangha community where so many devotees can be benefited and the speakers can also purify their tongue by speaking and chanting about Shri Krishna. Thank you very much.
A lot of them are involved and they started with Prabhu, and I'm only a part of it. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your blessing.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Sukaka Krishna Prabhuji, please go ahead with your question.
Hare Krishna, Arjun Sakha Prabhu, Nallar Pranam. I remember in 2006, I came to your house to meet you. The brother was doing Saligram Puja, and you were a small boy at the time, but I can see that how you both are. I think you are definitely Gauranita, some incarnation. You are doing so well. I can in the next 5-10 years, you both will become like Shiksha Gurus and transform the whole world. Really, I'm so happy and see the talent. The way you told, actually, the video, I could see the whole film coming on rather than moving and from the room. You are really fantastic, and I pray that you both just transform the whole world. Amarendra, and you are the best, east or west, you both are the best. Thank you so much. Rumba Sandosha.
Hare Krishna. Somehow my memory is very bad. I am not able to, of course, as you mentioned, I was small, so I don't remember. Probably my brother and my parents will remember your visit.
Yeah, your brother remembered, but I think you're school going boy, I think, like 2006.
I was very small. But yes, I don't consider myself anything. I am a servant. Yes, my brother is blessed, and I feel whatever bhakti I'm able to do, whatever preaching I'm able to do, it's because of having like-minded association. Oftentimes I say this, that the younger brother learns from the older brother. If the older brother is not devotional, then there is no impetus for the younger brother. But if the older brother is devotional, then there is a lot of inspiration and a lot of desire to follow in the footsteps. So yes, we have had the association of Prabhupada disciples, but I also feel very happy and very proud to have my brother as Amarendra Prabhu, because I get a lot of inspiration and a lot of nourishment in the path of bhakti. So yes, he is special, and I am just trying to do whatever I can, my bit. Hare Krishna.
He's Rama, you are Lakshmana. You are Lakshmana. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We have one more raised hand. Darshini, right? I don't know if I pronounced right.
Dandrat Pranam. Prabhuji, I have two questions. My first question is that you mentioned in the class that when Vishnu is asking Krishna, my dear Lord, what are you doing here? Please come back. It's like enough. How many ever demons you kill, please come back. So actually means that Krishna resides in Vaikuntha also.
Vishnu is asking Krishna.
Yeah, so he's asking Krishna to come back, right? So does that mean that Krishna resides in Vaikuntha also?
Asking to come back basically means come back to the spiritual world. That my dear Lord, it's long you have been in the material world. Please come back to the spiritual world. That don't stay down for very long. Just come back to the spiritual world.
Yes, Prabhuji. And I have one more question. May I ask?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, my question is, how do we increase our chastity more towards Radha Krishna and less towards this material world? Like for me personally, I have this question that I feel I'm more devoted to this material world than to Radha Krishna. So how do I increase my chastity towards Radha Krishna?
Our Gaudiya line is streamlined to attain the lotus feet of Radharani and Krishna. Srila Prabhupada very beautifully once said, and I heard this from Aindra Prabhu. Aindra Prabhu quoted Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, all other places or all other temples are home away from home, but Vrindavan is our home. There is a difference between home away from home and there is a difference home. How much ever Airbnb, how much ever Club Mahindra, whatever you take and travel around the world, you are happy when you open the door of your own house. That is when you get happiness. So all other temples and all other places are very, very wonderful and very, very glorious. But Vrindavan is our home. Srila Prabhupada, and who is saying this? Prabhupada said this. Prabhupada said, Juhu is my office, Mayapur is the place of worship, and Vrindavan is home. So Prabhupada has said Vrindavan is his home. If it is home for Prabhupada, it also means it is home from all Prabhupada Anugas. It is our home. In order to get some inclination to Radha and Krishna, we have to hear about Radha and Krishna. We have to hear about the glories of Vrindavan Dham. We can get attracted to the pastime places. We can get attracted to the personalities when we hear about the Supreme Lord. One time when one devotee came to Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Radha Govinda Maharaj, and he had Radha Krishna deities. So he wanted to worship Radha Krishna deities. So he asked Guru Maharaj that, Maharaj ji, kya main inki aradhana kar sakta hu? So Guru Maharaj said yes. So then he said that many times it is said that, oh, Radha Krishna you should not worship. Only Gaur-Nita you should worship. Now, of course, this is mood of different devotees. There is no one particular answer. It is mood of different devotees. So then Srila Guru Maharaj, when he was asked like this, Srila Guru Maharaj said, यदि इस मनुष्य जीवन में आप राधा और कृष्णा की आराधना नहीं करेंगे, तो आप कब करोगे? यदि सतत आप डरते रहे कि अरे राधा और कृष्णा मेरी, no, I have no qualification. Guru Maharaj said, you will never have qualification. In no lifetime you will ever have qualification to worship Radha and Krishna because they are so high and we are so patit. In no lifetime you will have qualification. So Srila Guru Maharaj said, यदि आप सतत डरते रहे तो आप आराधना कब करेंगे? So take that leap, take the jump, take the leap of faith, and Krishna will maintain and Krishna will protect. To get attracted to Radha and Krishna, we can hear more about Braj, the pastime places of Vrindavan. We can read more books about Vrindavan. We can hear more classes about Vrindavan, because what happens is, it's not just Vrindavan. When we hear about Vrindavan, naturally you're hearing about the Lord of Vrindavan, that is Sri Krishna. Naturally you will hear about Radharani. You will hear about some other personalities of Braj, like Vrinda Devi, Purnamasi Devi. Without hearing about the personalities of Vrindavan, it's very difficult to get attracted to Vrindavan. It doesn't happen overnight. We have to hear about the personalities of Braj. We have to hear about Braj, the glories of the dust of Vrindavan, the glories of Gopeshwar Mahadev. If you see, we have 2 magazines of Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, Kathamrit Bindu, that talk about Shivji, the Lord's greatest devotee, that's the name. And it has glories of Shivji in Vrindavan, Gopeshwar Mahadev, Aseshwar Mahadev, Iksheshwar Mahadev, Vankandeshwar Mahadev, Bhuteshwar Mahadev. Chintaharan Mahadev, and so many other Mahadevs. And Gaur Govinda Maharaj gives stories of all these personalities of Mahadev, how they got attracted to Braj. Till the time we don't hear about the personalities of Braj, we don't hear about Vrindavan Dham. Till the time we don't go frequently to Vrindavan. As frequent as possible, we should go to Braj. If you are living away from India, maybe once a year, maybe twice a year, based on whatever is feasible during yatras. And if we are in India, little more frequent, because you're there in the same country, at least twice or thrice a year, because Vrindavan Dham is a place where naturally when we go, we get surcharged, we get a lot of nourishment. We see the moment we go to Vrindavan, our chanting increases, our hearing increases. We want to do parikramas. Everything increases. Why? Because Dham is Shakti. There is a reason why Rupa Goswami in Panchanga Bhakti puts Dhambas, Brajavas. So we have to take advantage. Tishtan Vrajeta Danuragi Jananugami Kalam Nayat Akilam Iti Upadesha Saram. The essence of Upadeshamrit, nectar of instruction, Rupa Goswami explains. Kalam Nayat Akhilam Iti Upadesha Saram. This is the essence. But what is the essence? Tishtan Vraje, go to Vrindavan Dham. Go to Vrindavan Dham. But if going physically to Braj is not possible, at least mentally. But we can only go mentally to Vrindavan when we have at least gone a couple of times physically to Vrindavan. Right? What will you meditate about Vrindavan if you have not gone physically? If I tell you that, Mataji, from tomorrow meditate about Australia. Now, if you have not been to Australia, what will you meditate upon Australia? Nothing. It will be blank. Likewise, if we have not gone physically to Vrindavan, what will we meditate about Vrindavan? It's very difficult. To get attraction to Radha and Krishna, we have to take shelter of Braja Dham. Vrindavan Dham is very, very glorious. Way more glorious than what we can imagine or what we can think. So hear about Vrindavan. Srila Radhanath Maharaj, there is a transcription of his classes, 2004, the 7 temples of Vrindavan, the Yatra classes. It's orange in color. Different temples Maharaj has given classes. We can hear that. And so many disciples of Prabhupada who have spoken about different pastimes of Braj. We can hear them. We can take full advantage. And they're all free classes. ISKCON Desiratory, SoundCloud, YouTube, this, that. They're all free classes. Not one class is charged. So so these are the few things you can do. Hear about Vrindavan. Read books about Vrindavan. Try to go physically to Vrindavan a couple of times. And when you're away from Vrindavan, whatever you have seen, hold them in your heart. One devotee, I was recently in Columbus, Ohio, for Katha, and the temple president there was telling me, he's disciple of Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj. So he, in 2004, Kartik Yatra, the famous Kartik Yatra of Radhanath Maharaj, where Maharaj goes so ecstatic in Man Mandir, singing Jai Jai Radhe, Jai Jai Sham, Jai Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham. Again, for those devotees who have not seen it, it's there on YouTube. 2004, Man Mandir Bursana, Srila Radhanath Maharaj Kirtan, and Maharaj goes ecstatic, singing Jai Jai Radhe, Jai Jai Sham, Jai Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham. So that devotee was telling me that when they were leaving the Kartik Yatra of 2004, Srila Radhanath Maharaj told all his disciples, now that you're leaving Vrindavan Dham, and when you go back to America or to wherever you are, whichever places you're going to, like a camera, see all the places, remember all the stories and store it, have a photographic memory and store it in your heart. And when you go back to Columbus, Ohio, close your eyes and think about Vrindavan. When you do that, you're actually in Vrindavan. When you do that, you're in Braj. But to even do that, we have to at least physically go to Vrindavan. Otherwise, how can we even meditate? So hear about Braj, read books about Vrindavan, go physically to Vrindavan, and meditate about Vrindavan. And when you do things in connection to Vrindavan, who are the lords of Vrindavan? It is Radha and Krishna. Naturally, our preeti towards Radha and Krishna will develop. Because Vrindavan is a place surcharged with Radha and Krishna worship. Every place you go, Radhe, 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 Radhe. Cycle rickshaw Radhe, temples Radhe, Radharaman ding dong Radhe. Every place it's simply Radhe, Radhe. Even if you're an atheist, even if you're a Muslim, you still cannot forget the name of Radharani. So naturally, by chanting so much, our tongue will start vibrating and there will be some preeti. Preeti na yavat mai vasudeve. So these are the few things that we can do that come to my mind. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, you have more time for the questions?
I see 2 hands, so we'll take
Two more. Yeah.
question.
Anita Mataji, please go ahead with your question.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much Prabhuji for such a filmy class, I can say. So it was like I'm seeing the 1 hour film about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it was very nice. And the portion which I was getting attracted was there is one. Is there one more person in this room who is crying and Gadadhar is coming out to start? That was really very nice when you were narrating it. And whatever you said about Bhakti Sangha is also very true that they are having so many programs night and day. And I'm really unfortunate that I cannot see all the programs. So whatever is there, I could participate actively, so I could do that. So, Prabhuji, you were saying that 3.5 associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the last one is Medhavani Devi.
Madhavi Devi.
Sorry, Prabhuji?
Madhavi Devi.
Madhavi Devi. Okay, so Prabhuji, actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as you said, he will not, as a sannyasi, he will not allow any female devotees towards him, like physically also they cannot see him, right? So then, can you elaborate on this, how that manasik transaction was going on? Is it that she will be there or without her presence?
So, just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a sannyasi, and as sannyasi or as a brahmachari, Mahaprabhu has his rules. And we find that the small mistake that Chota Haridas did, Mahaprabhu banished him. Mahaprabhu did not want to associate, and he removed him from his Sangha. He removed him from the Bhakti Sangha. No more association, because Chota Haridas did a mistake. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has rules as far as external conduct is concerned. Even when we find, when Jagadananda Pandit, he wants to give oil to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for some oil massage. So Mahaprabhu says, I'm a sannyasi and I cannot use oil. So he gives the oil to Govinda. And Govinda says, Mahaprabhu will not accept. I know Mahaprabhu. And Jagadananda Pandit says, no, you have to give, because he's in the mood of Satyabhama. So very authoritative. You have to give this to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu later chastises Govinda and says that if I put this oil and I walk outside, people will think I'm a Dari sannyasi, which means people will think I'm a sannyasi who's putting fragrant oil to attract opposite gender. How will people respect me? What is this kind of sannyasi who's putting nice fragrant perfumes in Jagannath Puri? How will people respect? What will the sampradaya hold if sannyasi is having some fancy perfumes? They will feel that I'm a Nari, a Dari sannyasi. They will feel I'm a Dari sannyasi who's trying to attract the Nari. Dari trying to attract the Nari. So there also we find Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very strict on this. Direct association with women, and also indirectly through some means by which people will think that, oh, he's doing this to attract the opposite gender. Sannyasi ra alpa chidra sarva loke gaye, Kaviraj Goswami explains. A sannyasi is like a white cloth. And if that white cloth has one black dot in it, what do people do? They will forget all the white cloth. And that one black dot that is there, they will just keep glorifying that black dot. They will criticize. Sannyasira alpa chidra sarva loke gaye. One small thing that a sannyasi does wrong, people forget everything bad and they will start criticizing. So sannyas ashram is that respected. And that is why even in our movement we find there is a lot of waiting period, and then eventually people get it. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being a sannyasi, is teaching by example that he doesn't want too much close association, but half association is considered because internally there is no one who can stop the jiva from removing the Supreme Lord. As a servant, whether we are male, female, whether we are a deer, whether we are moving, non-moving, whether we are Sthavara Jangama, whether we are Lakshmi Vishnu, or whether we are Krishna himself, whoever we are, internally there is no stoppage. Internally, the manasik smaran can always be there to remember. So she was so internally absorbed in remembering Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but could not externally go out in public because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very strict. So because internally she was so absorbed, and she was the dear sister of Shiki Mahiti, who was the Lord's very, very dear associate. Kaviraj Goswami puts her as a half associate because physical association is not there because of the sannyasi rules that Mahaprabhu had. But internally, she was always thinking and crying for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's association. So Mahaprabhu internally accepts her, but externally cannot go any far ahead. The Lord is Bhavagrahi Janardana. Whoever we are, he accepts the bhav, he accepts the moods. There may be people who cannot see, or there may be people who cannot walk, or there may be people who cannot talk, there may be people who cannot hear, but doesn't mean Krishna is not going to accept them. Krishna consciousness is beyond these externals. Krishna consciousness is beyond these externals. So externally, she was in a feminine body, and naturally, the proximity to a sannyasi is not as much as a male body offers. But internally, she was crying out so much, and Kaviraj Goswami in his meditations could see that. So he puts her as a half associate because she's a feminine, and internally yes, externally no. So half. With that. Hare Krishna. You're on mute, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. That was really satisfying answer. And do you have time, Prabhuji, for me to ask one more question? Or I can ask next time also.
There is one more hand raised. So
yeah, okay, fine. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Tanya, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, why Srila Vyasdevji is known as Dvaipayana?
So Dvaipa or Dvipa basically means island. So he appeared in an island. Vyasadev. So Vyasa is a post. It is not a personality. Vyasadev is not a personality. It's a post. Like for example, now this is the 28th Chatur Yoga that is going on. Like from those who are from Maharashtra, in Ganpati we sing Yoge 28 Vithe Varubha. For Ganpati Arti we sing 28 or 28 basically. So this is a 28th Chatur Yoga. And in this Chatur Yoga, the Vyasadev is Krishna Dvaipayana. It is a position like Prime Minister. Prime Minister is not a name. Prime Minister is a post. Narendra Modi is the person. President is the post. Joe Biden is the person. Vyasadev is the post. Krishna Dvaipayana is the person. Dvaipa or Dvipa basically means he appeared in an island. So in this Chatur Yuga, it is Krishna Dvaipayana who gave Srimad Bhagavatam. But in the 24th Chatur Yuga that was there, it was Valmiki who was the Vyasadev. That's when the Ramayana was written. So the Valmiki Ramayana that we have is not written in this Chatur Yuga. It is the 24th Chatur Yuga. So then 25, 26, 27, and now we are in 28. But still it is 28, and we are still glorifying the personality who appeared 4 Chatur Yugas before. This is Bhagavan. The personalities in this world, when they appear and they depart, they may achieve lots of millions of followers and a lot of fame, but who talks about them? I think there's some mic on. But no one talks about them. You see so many celebrities. You can do the imagination. So many are there and so many departed. There was this famous NBA star, Kobe Bryant. People would talk about him so much in America. Kobe Bryant, this, that. Who talks about him now? Who talks about him? No one. Lata Mangeshkar, such a big singer. Who talks about her now? No one. So in this world, fame and popularity is in a blink of an eye, it's taken away. Gone. In one flash, Krishna takes it away. And for that, people strive so much and they're not even remembered. But look at Maryada Purushottam Ramanjana. This is Bhagavan. In the 24th Chatur Yuga, Ramayana was written, and we still are glorifying and celebrating his appearance and reading from the Valmiki Ramayana. This is Bhagavan. He was glorious, he is glorious, and he will always be glorious. He was famous, is famous, and will always be famous. This is Bhagavan. So he's appeared in an island. So he's Krishna Dvaipayana, and Vyasadeva is the position. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Is there any more questions? I don't know if Prabhuji has time.
We can end the call, Mataji. It's 9:30 here.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu, once again for such a beautiful class and very nice question and answers, especially about Vrindavan. How can we develop the love for Radha and Krishna? If we develop the love for Vrindavan Dham, then automatically we develop for Radha and Krishna. That examples that you have given to understand us how important to develop love for Dham is so beautiful, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. It really helped us. And once again, thank you so much for such a beautiful class and very nectarian pastimes that you have shown in front of our eyes. Very grateful for that. I would like to offer my obeisances, Prabhuji. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo nama. Ananta koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Grace Arjun Sakha Prabhuji ki jai. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji.